have to like take a sip now because if I do it,
I swear you can hear
Well, they can hear it now.
if I
it.
take
If
a
I
sip,
take a sip,
Yeah.
like can you if I take a sip right now, can you hear this?
Why did it stop on 20?
It went down here.
Weird.
Hello, my people. I missed you. The
the
southern
southern
accent
accent
is
is
coming
coming
out,
out,
and
and
I
I
don't
don't
know
know
why.
why.
If
If
you
you
don't
don't
know,
know,
we
we
lived
lived
in
in
Nashville
Nashville
for
for
21
21
years.
years.
This
This
is
is
echoing
echoing
through
through
my
my
headset.
headset.
Is
Is
there
there
a
a
way
way
to
to
make
make
that
that
not
not happen?
happen? Is it called hardwiring? Yes. Doug is very tired. Yes. You guys, Doug and I have been in each other's life for, gosh, you were 20 when we got married, 19. You were 19 when we met. Don't make me do math. Okay. So I get used to the tone thing. Every now and then we get a comment that either my tone is a little aggressive or his tone is a little aggressive. Look, what you see is what you get. And he's tired. He's tired. He's been a little cranky. Our son left for Japan this morning. He sold his car and is going to Japan for what we believe will be 90 days. That's as long as he can stay. I mean, that's the length, the duration that you can stay on a tourist visa. And he has a good friend that is there who lived out in LA and they were in acting circles together. And I so have been encouraging him to to start this a YouTube thing, a social media thing. He's a little nervous about it, but I'm like, my people will so support you. We're a community that typically is very supportive of each other until I have a lack of sleep myself and I think I'm being sassy and I forget that I am relatively new to YouTube as opposed to being on like Facebook and Instagram for decades where people like know my sense of humor. Um, for example, I have been accused of being in the candy cult for so long. I've There's part of me that forgets that not everybody knows that. So when I put candy cult on the cover of a post, and I hope I put it in quotes. It was supposed to be in quotes. Doug, can you check that for me? No, no, he can't. Okay. Um, the the post I did um, that kind of kicked up the Tate thing again, like on Instagram, or it was a short on YouTube, and I said something about the candy cult, and people were like, "That's really derogatory," and I've gotten to a point where like I'm owning it. Like I want a T-shirt that says it. I think that would be cool. So, but it is in quotes. Good. For some reason, I'm like, if I put it in quotes, then like I'm not really saying it. It's like what other people say. Does that make sense? Because I wouldn't quote myself, I would just say it. So the quotes were indicating that other people said it. But it also didn't translate. My humor didn't translate at all about when I was like, that's my word. When Candace said Christianese. And I did not realize how many people have heard this word. I didn't know that. honest to God, which I don't have to say that. Anytime I always kind of poke at people if they say that. I'm like, well, aren't you usually honest? But um, in 57, in August 29th is my birthday, which happens to be not only the same birthday as Michael Jackson, but if but of Charlie and Erica's daughter, Gigi, is also August 29th. What dog is bless you? Do you bless your dogs when they sneeze? Bless you. What was I saying? Oh, so I have never heard anybody use the word Christianese before. I use it so much that I was told that when Candace said it, there were several people that mentioned me in it. But, so when I'm like, that's my word, and I'm being like the seagulls going my 90 95% of the comments were like, that word's been around forever. I love you, but hate to break it to you. You didn't invent that word. What were you shaking your head at?
I would have said it's more like 60-40. There were a lot of people that said, that was your word. I thought of you when you heard.
No,
Yeah, there was.
I maybe like 3 out of 100. And because my eyes were messed up, they're still a little messed up. So I wasn't able to come on that allergy thing. And then I was tired, a lot of energy, excuse me, was going into prepping to help our son get ready to go. So I did some edits. I don't know if you see those, but I did probably two of my best edits. I did a short that is Erika Kirk. I think it's called her like True Love or something, or True Soulmate. And it is with Joe Exotic, the Tiger King. And I got this idea. I just hear one thing and I'm off to the races. And what she said was, I got familiar with these videos. This is when she was speaking at a church recently. Oh my God. This church, I wish I remembered the name. Oh, I'm too many tangents. The pastor, somebody told me allegedly, the pastor, that's a hard word, allegedly, the pastor bought like $1 million house and paid cash for it. And they hire a lot of like ex-con people, which can be good if there's a program and a structured program and accountability. But a lot of times there isn't. Like at Greg Laurie's church. Is that the right name? Sometimes I confuse it with the other guy in Southern California, the Calvary Chapel. It's not. Which one is it? He was like the Jesus movement, right? The Kelsey Grammer that our friend was. Um, when I moved out here with my daughter, there was like a group of her friends that I was like mama bear to for a while. And these two sisters, um, like one of them ended up writing like the Bridgerton the musical that went viral, and just they're so talented. And then the daughter, I don't know if they want me mentioning their names, so um, is in the movie with Kelsey Grammer. So um, when the hippies, the Jesus movement, but Greg Laurie, was that the Kelsey Grammer character? No, it was the kid. It was the younger guy that was kind of mentored by the older. Okay. And then Greg Laurie went on to start, was it a denomination of churches? Sorry, I'm kind of going off the
I
cuff.
think they were in and out of Calvary. I
Inter-
think it might have been Calvary at some point, and
that's
they
what I thought. And then they
broke
kind
up.
of, yeah. So Greg Laurie is connected to,
He's with Harvest Church.
thank you, it's called Harvest Church, but I don't know what denomination,
It's
its own independent,
charismatic, Pentecostal.
not tied to though, like,
No,
like we have a PCA or
no.
PCUSA, or, wouldn't be close to that anyway. But you might be familiar because a lot of attention was drawn to this when Erica kicked off The Make Heaven Crowded Tour, which is the most stupid name ever because heaven does not have walls. It's so stupid. It is so stupid. You've heard me say this before. Like, I don't know that I've ever, I try to avoid the never and always words, but I don't know that I've ever just blatant called somebody stupid than in this season. I, what was I gonna? Oh, the Make Heaven Crowded tour. Like, whoa, that is just the most ignorant name, which is on track with Bible knowledge that they don't have, and we're going to talk about that a little bit because I only caught about 2 hours total of Candace and Barron this week. I'm I try not to stress myself out by saying I'm behind because so much is going on. What you giving me? What are you
No, I'm
giving me
looking
a
at
look
your
at?
mic. Not you.
Why is it being weird?
No. Continue, please.
Remember, they can't see your face if you're smiling because you're smiling at me.
You always make me smile.
Oh, so cheesy. Doug's not a cheesy kind of guy. So Greg Laurie, um, in the I don't know what stage the lawsuit is, but for 20 years they hired somebody that is connected. The, horrible abuse, horrible mind effupery abuse, just sadistic of this orphanage in Romania. Go figure. Candace is the one where I learned that Romania is saturated with that. I didn't know that. I didn't know that. And so I looked into it more. Greg Laurie's church, of course, she has had allegations made against her. And when you see her, the few pictures that are out where she is kissing children, it is usually when you kiss, you kind of, she's like, so weird. It's a big puckery lift. Like when she was accused of JD Vance, I mean, not accused of the hug and the hand like in the hair. And then she's the November interview with Megyn Kelly. This was a huge red flag about what kind of CEO she would be, which was basically you can't tell her anything because there was enough buzz, enough concern, not only by people that weren't supportive of her, but people that were supportive that this is not a good look with the tight leather pants and wear whatever. But when you're in the spotlight like that, people are going to notice. Like you might notice my new Think Happy Stuff t-shirt. How was that for a segue? We finally got shirts in, received shirts that are going to be our staple shirts, and the colors are awesome. They're all kind of these earth tones, which, I love. And um, then we have sweatshirts with the pockets. Not like the hoodie big pocket that goes across, but that tucks in, like one on each side.
The new colors aren't up yet, but they
Oh,
will be by Monday.
they will be by Monday. But what is up now?
The t-shirts like you have on, and then the change your thinking unisex t-shirts.
We have unisex shirts, which finally men's shirts, unisex. Some women prefer that cut. So um these are like a wider cut too. These aren't ladies cut. And they're not quite women's cut. It's the style that kind of along the lines of a boyfriend tee, it's just, but not masculine because the sleeves are a little, whatever. They're cool. My mind is going in so many different directions. But when somebody reached out and said that the church where she just spoke with the pastor, that, oh my God, he was the prayer. Oh, I wish I should have pulled up, not should have, that's a shame word. I had a lot to think about. Um, and this was kind of spontaneous, but I missed you guys. I really did miss being with you guys. We still, the goal is every day or 3 days. Doug is like 3 days a week,
every other day.
every other day, like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, because Candace doesn't do Friday, right?
I don't think so.
Yeah. So we'll see. We should be able to figure it out now. Our son, our 25-year-old son, is still, he hasn't landed yet, right? Because it's like a 12-hour flight. And like I said, all over the place. So this person reached out and said this pastor, is off. And I was like, we need to look into all these churches on the tour stop. Sure enough, it's an interesting cast of characters, which I'm not going to go into now, but we will continue to gather that. And I'm not going to do like a huge deep dive, but of course, of course, because what Bible teaching church, which actually teaches the Bible and actually has pastors who have seminary, is it called degrees?
Yeah, it's a Master's of Divinity is a
Okay.
seminary degree,
Okay.
which is like a grad school degree.
Okay. Um, like you've heard me say this probably, that Calvary Chapel not required. Just have to have a heart for uh, and turn a blind eye to things. I saw a clip recently on Instagram where a woman, oh my God, it was just heart wrenching. Her daughter, forgive me, I don't know if it was her daughter or her son, was molested by somebody that the pastor brought on who had a history, and the pastor knew that and still put him with children. My God. And of course, Candace has shared with us, as has Barron, as we look into this, these pastors that have ties or allegations of sex trafficking or some connection to it. That is rare. You would think it's just running rampant, rampant, that it's everywhere. But it's not. It's not. I mean, my gosh, it is in Erika Kirk circles. But when it came to the Tates, and I'm not going to deep dive into this. But if you've been with me from the beginning, I respect Candace. I didn't listen to her before this. Again, Blake Lively trial, maybe bits of little episodes along the way. But for me to be left leaning and show up on my social media, I wasn't on YouTube for a while, um, and start defending Candace and sharing Candace stuff, or when Candace commented on my a post one time and it was the first time she commented, I was like, "Oh my God." And people were like, "If you care about that, then, you know, I'm out of here." And I said, we need little places of, pieces of joy right now where we can get it. And I respect her work. And if mine is making her laugh at all, or encourages her in any way, or says things, you know, there was one which was my reaction to when Erica said, um, and now I'm the sole provider for my children. I have to be the sole provider for my children. It's pinned on my Instagram. I don't, can you pin on YouTube? I don't know. So, but it's pinned on my Instagram, and my reaction is like, what the? I mean, it is like F bomb, but it's so raw of like, what is this? And then Candace went on to explain more about why that so would be so deeply offensive to Charlie. And then I started to remember the podcasts that I had gone back and watched because I never watched him before. And, if a clip came up on my Instagram, but I didn't agree with him on most things, so I would scroll past it. I bring something to this that is unique. And Stu Peters, like we were both on a panel recently. And one thing that we have in common is that we didn't follow Charlie Kirk or know anything about Turning Point. We didn't agree with him. I don't know what Stu's issues were. Um, I was very much aware of his views on women,
Who's
and their
views?
role. I'm sorry, not Stu's, but Charlie's. And again, you've heard me. I don't like to be redundant, which you've heard me say, so I'm being redundant about saying redundant. But that he had shifted his views on Israel and was speaking out and had questioned Gaza and all of that stuff. And I knew he was going against the flow. I knew he was going against the flow. The issue with me bringing up the Tates, Candace was the one who taught me about Romania. And any time Romania has come up, or even Eastern Europe, there has been the red flag of this could be tied to sex trafficking because of the history. Automatic, automatic. It was just a given. It's been drilled into my head, like there. So I didn't know much of anything about the Tates at all. My son said he lost friends over it, like a couple years ago, because he was so repulsed by the talking points that some of his friends, or one friend in particular, would reiterate. And he's like, no. So when I heard that they left the UK under duress because they were stepping up their investigation and they went to Romania and had been there, from what I understand, for 10 years in Romania, it's fair to ask why they are the exception. And I hope it crossed your mind too. One thing that concerned me and made me sad, because I'm used to being attacked from the other side of this investigation, those who are just convinced that Erika has done nothing wrong, there are no questions to be asked. Tyler did this. And isn't it incredible that she forgave him? That I was seeing the same mindset. You don't question Candace. Like the same with Erika. You don't question Candace. What?
Well, do you think that's reinforced by the other podcasters that, you know, like
Because
Lionel or Baron?
they're partnering. So I've been partnering with her. When Candace says that she is so appreciative to the left for joining this fight, I'm because of the interaction she's had on my Instagram, part of me is like, she's thinking me, to some extent, she must. And I have to tell you, and I don't say this as pride, but as a matter of fact, I think I was one of the first across the board to come out and say, hey, if this thing is settling like not right, like if it's not settling well with you, you're not crazy. And a lot of people from the right, that resonated with them. And I don't, my base might be more conservative now. But to be attacked by my own team was was disappointing. Or for example, the pushback on the Tates having any guilt or not being nothing than I saw an interview with the Tates with some guy. I don't know who it was. And I believe them. Okay, well that's on par with um I went blank on the roommates, how the prosecutors could share his testimony, but the defense it's almost like the defense would leave the room and be like, we don't know. It would be the other way around. Like we can't question him, and they wouldn't care about questioning him. That made no sense whatsoever. That didn't make any sense. But to remember, and this is a fact, the Tates have said it, and several of the women have said it that dated them. So this is a fact that Andrew was so convincing, and he teaches this or taught this, that if you woo a woman into a situation, convince them that you love them, you can manipulate them to do whatever, including this business webcam, you know, sex webcam thing. And so what he did is that he had several girlfriends, he said, his words, that he brought over to Romania. And he said they all sat around the table and they didn't know who each other was, who they were. He didn't know they didn't know who these other women were because he didn't tell them he was seeing other people or had been involved with other people. So he said then, what I want to do is start this business model where, I mean, it's pimping. I, care about you. We're going to make all this money together. He said, this is the business model. I'm just giving you the straight up. And he said that 2 of the women left. They had no interest. And then the rest stayed. And one of them, he pointed out, was bringing in like $25,000 a month. And she questioned him about something. So he threw all her stuff out the window because it would set a bad example for the other women if she asked questions. He is saying this, and it substantiates what the women have said, which also, now this is, he has not said, I don't know if he has validated this or not. I think he raised the subject. Women have said, yeah, he also has taken our passports, so we can't leave. So Romania, 10 years, and then him saying what he was involved in. And that's what the accusations are about. People don't understand a lot of the questions. And I was really getting frustrated when people were saying, and it's reflected in the comments, when people were saying, I believe he's being set up because I watched this interview. So my point was, Andrew is very convincing. He convinced women to come over to stay with other women that had been, sexually involved with him, and to partner to make money that he gets a significant cut of. I don't know the percentage. And he brags about manipulating these women. He brags about that. So, what is a fact is that the case is not closed in Romania. So when people say, well, the charges, nothing has stuck in the UK or Romania, it's because Romania had dibs and the case is open. But Trump, because it's illegal for them to do this, but what's the law these days? Andrew Tate has said that he tweets this stuff, Pride Before the Fall, right? That he'd been talking to um, Barron, and they talk about the case. And now that Trump was elected, it would get taken care of. And it was. Romania reluctantly agreed to release the guys to Florida. They bragged about it on the way there. DeSantis was not happy. Tate was like, we'll then open an investigation or come after us, which they did then. But here's the deal. The Romania case still open. UK had to wait for Romania to release them in some capacity. So even though the case is still open, they came to the US. So the UK was like, we have 60 charges. 60, I think it was 50, and then they added more. Doug, would you please double check that? That's
Charges in
charges
Romania.
against the Tate brothers. I really want to get that number right. So their justice system reaches out to the Trump administration's justice system. Bear in mind, that's the justice, the DOJ that said, yeah, let him go, let him, come home. How many?
For the UK,
Yeah.
Andrew has 42 and Tristan has 17.
Okay. So more than 60 between them.
59 total.
Okay. Oh, okay. Thank you. Those charges are so substantiated because they would have to, these are the charges, right? And the DOJ was like, well, we just got them back here. There was enough there to, think of the pride that Trump has at times. Like, he will repeat facts. Not facts. He gets something wrong and he'll just keep saying it. Like, no other country does birthright citizenship, where there are, I think, at least 32. I'm sure somebody pointed that out, but he had already said it publicly, so he keeps repeating it. And that's what Roger Stone told it. You don't admit when you're wrong, Donald. You keep repeating it. So there was enough there that Trump, who never admits he's wrong about anything, essentially admitted they were wrong and released them to the UK. So they're in custody now. Now think about how Maxwell, connection to the Trump administration, they didn't want her going into things. There was a deal made. Obviously, she got moved to a cushier place. Andrew Tate and Tristan, is that his name, Tristan? As closely as they're connected to the Trump family, two of the three sons, Barron and Don Jr., are right there. They are in a crappy facility. No windows. Apparently, they're confined to this one room, no phone. Now, when you see texts from them, if you do for some reason, that's all orchestrated beforehand. There's like a contingency plan. Like Joe Exotic or the Tiger King, like they follow me, and he's in prison. He did follow me. But there were some comments on posts about like unfair like justice, and he may have just been fishing for people to pick up his cause, and I didn't respond to that. I don't know. But He was in prison. He can't run his social media, so somebody does that for him. So if you're like he's tweeting or Xing, what it's called? What do you call it? We people still call it tweeting, don't they? Or posting on what? If you guys know, please let me know. No, I lost my thought. What was I saying? So if you see him putting that stuff out, it's you might be, oh, you're wrong. He does have his phone. He does not have his phone. He was complaining about having stomach issues because he can't get clean water. He's in a really crappy facility. So not only did the Trump DOJ turn friends of his sons over to the UK, which means there's something there. They're in a crappy facility. You would think the president could pull some strings to put them in a, at least have a window. Those are just those are just facts. So when people are like, well, nothing, there's been no charges, they would have arrested by, no, Romania had to, well, what they were trying to do, and then Trump, the administration intervened, and then UK was like, okay, we're up to bat. And now they are fighting. The lawyer is saying, please send us to Romania. Send the men back to Romania, not to the UK. That's interesting. They profess their, you know, innocence. They say bring charges against us if they've also been charged with witness tampering. So they could go back and, face the charges anyway. Okay. Um, okay. There's just so when we look at people that are so fiercely defending Turning Point and Erika Kirk, and I'm thinking, how can they not look at any of this and just consider the possibility that the forensic evidence does not match the claim? Or how can they not think it's a little dodgy that Erika would forgive a man who had been convicted of anything yet? A little while ago, I don't know if it was a couple weeks ago, I'm pretty sure it was with you guys. I talked about like what an move it was for her to forgive him, because to forgive him meant she was declaring him guilty. Very strategic. And then the fact that Barron pointed out how much money they put behind, like promoting that video. So a couple days ago, one part I did catch was Candace pointing that out. I'm not saying she got it from me. What I love is that when sometimes I'm hesitant to watch them too much, because if I come up with a point, you know, it's fun to do that independently, and then they come up with the same point, and that like that's an affirmation. In that case, kind of obvious. Like I mentioned the microphone thing with the casket before Barron did, and there's some part of you that is like, I mentioned that first, but not enough to be like, because it's not that important. So when I mentioned, oh, that's my word with Christianese, some people commented that they were tired of hearing content creators kind of bicker over that kind of stuff, which I had not heard yet. But again, I don't listen to a bunch of podcasts. So that's where I was coming. That was more than I meant to talk about in regard to the Tates. I did comment to a couple people that I would do a breakdown of the Tate stuff. Because one thing I did that I typically like would never do was profess my belief in these guys being guilty of something. And I didn't present, did I show videos or anything? I thought I had a couple of videos. I don't know. But I didn't really build a case strategically like we're used to Candace or Baron doing. If you were there, I had just had an 18-hour stint of pulling in all this information, and it was so oppressive to me that I was using you guys as a sounding board. And in that sense, I don't know that I would do that again, since I don't know, with the subject, I don't know. I would still ask the same question, anyway. But more so because I was raw. I was really raw emotionally, because the 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 things they say in the interviews with some of the women and the investigative journalists, that it's really intense. So when people were saying, "Well, I saw, Andrew's interview with so and so and I believe him. He's being set up." But did you watch anything else? Did you read anything else? So that was a little exasperating. Okay, we did discover that on YouTube, if you hide a comment, it hides the user from, we think, from like ever being able to comment until it's reversed. Or is it just for that post?
I thought it was just for the post.
Is it just for the post?
I don't know. Mm,
Could you guys, if you know that, would you let us know? You might be somebody where that we hit a comment and you're like, the first two-thirds of my comment was really nice. And here's the deal, it's not about not being able to accept criticism. My concern is, um, it there are a lot of people that get very protective, and it creates this combative air, and we've been pretty good about avoiding that, which is why the community has been so supportive to each other. And I didn't, we didn't hide all of them. I think I only lost like 21 followers, and you would think, based on the comments, it would be a lot more. And it was a good reminder that it's those that disagree who will get really like loud and comment at all. Somebody who was being encouraging said, bear in mind, the people that agree with you won't, statistically speaking, don't comment. It's the ones that are unhappy.
that was me.
You didn't comment
I
that.
said that.
You have said that before. Again, honey, they can only hear you. They can't see your face.
But
So,
that's true with all customer service surveys,
yeah, this was Doug's field for a while. Like, in what way?
is that most people that fill out customer service surveys are commenting on a negative experience. And the ones that have a good experience or a normal experience don't take the time to fill them out.
Right, right. And there were people that were stressed, and it was so kind, um, who reached out and, like, are you okay? Like, it's been pretty aggressive. And which was, and I take responsibility for my short, maybe kicking that up a notch because of the candy cold comment, and that the quotes didn't translate to I'm part of it and somebody else is saying that. My bad. What?
No, there's just a lot of love and support in the chats for you.
Oh, I
So
appreciate that. Doug showed his handsome self. When did you do that? Did he accidentally?
uh, not today.
Okay. It was a great experience. Well, I mean, my God, how hypocritical would it be of me to whine about people coming at me when I go at Candace. I mean, at, sorry, at, what's her name? Erica. Don't read into that. I couldn't even think of Erica's name. It, I mean, that would be ridiculous. Yeah, Erica. What was interesting was like I was being accused by some of grifting off Candace. But if I mention Erica, I get accused of grifting off Erica. It's funny. Sometimes when I hear the accusations from the podcasters that are um, all, producing, putting forth the same narrative on behalf of Turning Point and Erica, they'll say everybody's just regurgitating the same information. So in that regard, it's I don't think I do that. So I started to say this earlier, which is something I say a lot. That one thing I bring to this is a I'm an outsider coming in. So somebody was like, what'd you do with that $7,000 that like BB paid me? Or I was being a subversive, um, like that I was coming in to cause division. Yeah, throwing, yeah.
Did you
Or
take the money from BB?
yeah, or that I was being like prideful or
Mhm.
something. Like like what that read to me was like, how dare you? Like, who are you to question Candace kind of thing? I'm a 57 and 11/12 year old woman. My opinions are whatever. And I've done public stuff for a while, so I'm not going to typically like cower with my opinions. So I also, there were directives like you need to keep focusing on Erica Kirk and Turning Point. That's the priority. And, I was like, I'm not a jukebox. Like, what do you want to hear next? Um, but also, sex trafficking is tied to it. Is tied to it. I thought it was interesting if we want to get conspiratorial that it's the first time I brought up like sex trafficking thing that was outside the box, and that caused a lot of division. And it was also interesting that that podcast I was sharing about my concern about the division, and I listed all the different, Democrat, Republican, just da 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 da, and that happened. I think there's a spiritual battle at play. And, sometimes they pick up, the bots or the whatever pick up, like, no, no, you're not going to go after, the Tates or whatever. The irony was like Candace went on tours with Charlie and they were asked questions. So, um, what was the other thing? The other thing I forgot what I
Don't
was
hit me
going
up.
to say. What? Oh, somebody said, um, like Candace, her blouse the other day that was the cream and the black. It was so cool. And when she put her arms out like she does on her chair, it like flared up. It reminded me of like one of those lizards that like when they're getting fired up or not feel threatened, but I don't know, they make themselves bigger. What are those dinosaurs called? Tura, I don't know what they're called. But somebody that's anti Candace on X said she's such a grifter that blouse cost $800. And I don't know how much the blouse cost. I didn't look that up. Um, it's, you know, ironically, a lot of people who get a lot of exposure don't are the ones who don't pay for expensive clothes. I don't know that if she bought it or not. What were you laughing at?
It's Um, it's literally called a frilled lizard.
The shirt,
No, the lizard that does it, it's called a frilled
a
lizard.
frilled lizard. Yeah. But it was just fierce. It was like, anyway, it's pretty cool. That being said, I can't imagine spending that much on a blouse, but we don't know that she did. And I don't care if she did or not. Don't care. Don't care. Okay, I want to see if there I made notes. Let me see. I've mentioned before that in addition to like leaning left, I have a Catholic background and evangelical background, full time Christian ministry that worked with college and high school kids. It's not a stretch for me to have interest in this. Plus, hypocrisy, trigger, trigger, because I've been struggling with that since 2015. Um, I've never been a supporter of Trump on any level. It's funny. I will be on panels on, I guess that's what you call it, like on other people's podcasts, and they're all conservative. Like I'm the odd man out, and someone will say, "We don't like God. How did we get to this place?" And I was like the last one. I was like, "Really?" Like we tried to tell you. So it's just funny. And I love having those places, those safe places where you can have those conversations. Mitch Snow was like, respect, respect for being here. I'm like, everybody's been really cool. So the podcasters that I'm aligned with, they are all conservative. All of them. All of them. I'm kind of like in a little bubble. If you guys would recommend to me other podcasters, you know, I'm with, Lionel and Coach and Baron and Candace, Stu. Um, I want to start watching him more regularly. Somebody suggested that he and I connect. I think we could have a really good conversation. We had kind of the same air. I was so tired that night. I had a long doctor's appointment and we were running really behind because the doctor was. And so I was late getting on. And um, somebody who's I've connected so well with, connected with, but her pattern of speaking was to say, you have to, like, you have to understand, you have to. And that's, Doug, how do I feel about that?
Can't do, tell a woman what to do.
Oh my God. All right, I'm going to stop asking you questions. But when people are like, you have to, I'm like, no, no, I don't. And so I said that. So somebody was like, you were rude to that woman. I'm like, we connect and we're great. Like we're great. And that's one of those things in those conversations in those safe places. And I was just like, I'm really tired. And we're only human. We are only human. So, um, but it's interesting. There's a filter that people will run me through and they'll ask, um, especially when I was right out of the gate, like, are you a Christian? Because if I weren't, and sometimes I just didn't answer because then it can get into, were you baptized? What denomination are you? What Bible do you use? Um, when were you baptized? Just are you post tribulation or pre trib or whatever? Um, but somebody was like, if you're not, I'm not gonna like listen to you. And that just it really strikes me because with Baron and Candace, and when facts are facts, facts are facts. Is the Romania investigation still open on the Tates? Yes, that's a fact. Now, does that mean they're guilty? Not necessarily, but the investigation is still open. So when someone says they haven't been convicted and see there were charges and they've been trying to get them, well, it's still open. And the fact is that Trump intervened, So that's not an opinion, those are facts. So, I could worship what frogs, I don't know, the little lizards we were talking about. And if I'm presenting facts, then they're still facts. But that, like, for some people it's like, you know. Um and what was the other one? Oh, whether I like full on supported Candace or not. Like somebody commented on Instagram when I shared something factual, well, I'll only believe this if it comes from Candace. And I was like, I hope you expand your circle of trust. Also, we need to pray for Candace right now. Okay? With these details that are coming out about spine being severed. It's very graphic. And this is one of her closest friends we're talking about. And it's she is just tried and true in this thing. So I know there's a point where she can just, you know, focus and go to a certain place because she has to. Otherwise, she'd never, you know, be able to function. I wasn't a fan, and there are times like I have to go there. But I think you hear what I'm saying. This is a tender time. I would think there's projection, and I don't know that that's a fact. Prayers never hurt. Anyway, good vibes, light a candle, incense. You know what I mean? The God of your understanding. I said that once, and someone's like, "You're not a Christian. I'm out of here." And I'm like, I was bound to offend you sooner or later. I will. I will. I can promise you that. I will. Not that I'm trying. It's just the way it goes. Um,
Owen Benjamin is the number one recommendation so far.
See, I've never even heard of that person. Candace Owens was the only one I had heard of in those circles because I wasn't a podcast person. And I wasn't a fan. I was not a fan. And I think, and Candace said something about this, that she had a similar experience about something, that it's like God closed her eyes. I'm not quoting exactly, until it was the time to see something. And somehow, like that added maybe credibility to the situation. And I think that's true for me. I wasn't a Charlie fan. I wasn't a Candace fan. I wasn't hateful. I don't hate Erika Kirk. Despite appearances, I do not hate her. I don't have that kind of energy. But I lost my thought. Lost my thought. Asking questions, it's a good thing. It's a good thing. Phrasing is important. And I don't know that I handled that well, being tired. Being tired. Um, did anyone comment explaining about if we hide somebody, does that stay like long
Yes,
term?
somebody responded, and no, it's just that comment.
Oh, it's just that post?
Mhm.
Oh, good. Good. Because I was like, please email us if that happened. And because we're not like blocking kind of people unless, you know, somebody accused me of like being paid to go after Candace. And it's so, that was just, and even then, I should have like in hindsight, l- left them on whatever. Because from day one, nothing but supportive. Nothing but supportive. Because of facts. And she cared. She was acting and saying things that we should hear from Erika. And I did use should there because that's a shame word. Doug, I am freezing. Can we turn this part of like the apartment, like with the air, it gets really cold and then it kind of shifts back and forth, but I'm like really cold. Um, I'm high closure, so I want to make sure that I don't miss something. Thank you for the podcast suggestions, recommendations. I think I covered. We're not done. If you feel like hanging out, we're going to look at Erica's speech that she gave to the youth leadership, for high school and college. Because you know what the inspiration was for this was when Andrew Tate, is that it? No, Andrew Tate. I am mixing. Andrew Colvett went after Candace for mispronouncing words. At least she chose the right words. The words were in context. I like couldn't believe that he would point that out, knowing there are people like myself who have like pushed through speeches of Erica's, cringing at the improper use of words or sentence structure or just demeanor. It These kids will have such energy, yay, it's her, and she'll get out there and God bless you. It's just like flatlining, just flatlining. If she would have just taken like 6 months, I think Tim Dillon said this, like just, take a break, even if it were just for appearance's sake, right? But coming out of the gate, but I think it's because they had to do things like shut down the um, audit. So when she says, like she does in this speech, we're doing, we're following Charlie's playbook, even I know they're not following Charlie's playbook. And she says they're not. It's so, they're just so stupid. And if she just would have gone away, you know, there's not energy there except when she was with Nicki Minaj, which, and maybe a few exceptions, and Charlie was not a fan of Nicki Minaj and pointed that out on more than one occasion. Okay. Um, God, we just eat those 6 months. Everything they're literally from a PR perspective, and I do have trading in this. Everything they're doing is wrong. Everything, and I think like we're glossing over. We're not. I mean, we knew this, but it hit me how the the length that the length that they went length to put together a fake video where Charlie is saying, was it Amfest? Must have been Amfest, where he introduces her and it's his voice saying that it's I know Candace said that it's like psychotic. It's totally psychotic. Her reaction to none of this has been normal. Her mood swings, the way she can switch 3 moods in 5 seconds is bizarre. That is what the huge red flags for people, even though I didn't do a video on it, when she within 2 days was in his studio. And if you haven't seen that in a while, knowing what you know now, going back and watching that, it's bizarre. The mood swings are wild. Like from looking here to, yeah, I mean, just within seconds, watching like therapists like or break that down was just fascinating. Yeah, but her reaction to everything, the mood swings, the casket, that was insane. The lack of discernment, forgiving an accused person, absurd, and then promoting it. Baby, were you going to say something? Making fun of pronouncing words. The detachment. And again, and again, and again, the picture that they put on everything is maybe 2011, but definitely 2012. Her picture that she uses for press, I'm not going to stop mentioning this, is from 2012. That tells us so much. It affirms the idea that she hid out when she was pregnant because she got fat. Nothing wrong with getting fat when you get pregnant, especially if you are an organization that touts and celebrating pregnancies. And the founder's wife is hiding out. Those are her words. I hid out because I had a human growing inside of me. And Charlie and I can live in a toxic world at times. I don't know if any of you have been pregnant like I have. We're all living in the same world. I have no doubt she meant because of the more focus maybe they get for certain whatever because of him being on the forefront. But she's the exception. Her experience is the exception. In that same town hall, a woman talks about, being a believer in the city and can you meet somebody? And Erika starts giving advice and she said, but granted, it's it doesn't happen for other people the way it happened for me. And then of course with her working, she's the exception because, well, I didn't choose this. I didn't choose this. A lot of women didn't choose their circumstances, but the condemnation. Oh my gosh, you guys. On Instagram, I'd pull it up. This is just a thought that it just like it wasn't a forethought. I didn't have this planned. Somebody shared a about Kent Franzve, Erica's father, birth father, who was still in her life. As you know, I'm sure the whole single mom thing is just total BS. Just like having a successful company, total BS. It didn't start making money until after she was married. Candace does a great breakdown of that. This woman had the sense or curiosity, this inclination, this never crossed my mind at all, to look up social media accounts. I don't know if she did all the family members, but she looked up Kent, Erica's dad, and there was one post. It might still be up. I didn't check myself. And it was like um, like uh, a prepper, but like not just stock up, but weird symbolism, like weird artwork, very creepy.
By prepper, you mean like end of the world or
Y-
Armageddon kind of?
yeah, or,
Okay.
a nuke or whatever. Erica's background is creepy. Like, let's just remove the if there's an Israel connection or not. Her upbringing, and she's alluded in the Megyn Kelly interview, she alludes to this. She said, when you it's going through what I went through as a child, but she said what I went through, not her experience as a child or my background, what I went through, which is overcoming something, something you have to push through, went through. It implies a trial to it. And she has also said that participating in pageants was bonding for her and her mom. It was, I don't know that bonding was the word she used, but it indicated it was like a reconnection or a deepening of the relationship, which is not the way she presents it, right? That her mom is a single mom and she has always just admired her. That she tells a story about her mom giving more than she could afford, in the offering plate. And Erica's like, Mom, what are you doing? And her mom's like, don't you dare. Like, that we get so much more blessing in return. It is just, wow. Um, Candace gave insight into Charlie's burial. I wasn't planning on talking about this either. And I had never thought about this. I just didn't go down the burial path. But clearly, he was cremated is very strong. What Candace was saying was um, they had to switch from one, not a morgue. What's it called, honey? The mortuary, because they would not do a mock funeral. And she's like, I know this for a fact. So she went to who? The Catholic priest. So I had always, I had known, I mean, that there was talk, I think Candace mentioned it, that he had a Catholic burial. And to me, that was just confirmation of his strong connection to Catholicism. It never occurred to me that it would be because of that one priest who is dodgy, which is the word of the evening, dodgy, because he would do a mock funeral for her. Because, of course, he would. And one of the reasons that I know he is so dodgy is because of another investigation that Candace did. And you might remember this one. Please let me know if you did. Oh, please also like and subscribe. I always forget to mention that. About a woman, a very wealthy woman, who felt compelled to go to the memorial service. And she was at a fundraising event, a different event. I don't know specifically that it was fundraising, but mentioned to somebody that had some connection at Turning Point that she would like to go. I don't know that she was taking the initiative. I think maybe it was just a matter of fact. And he, probably knowing this was a very wealthy woman, her name was never shared, and the company was not shared as far as I'm aware. Connected with somebody at Turning Point who reached out right away and said, "We have a seat for you," and not only a seat, but right down front, like in the first few rows, like right down there, which surprised her because she knew that tickets were a little harder to get. Well, she's Catholic. She's a Catholic woman. There's an empty seat next to her in this at this event, the event of the century. And she sees a Catholic priest kind of casually wandering, maybe looking a little like, where should I sit? Participating in the game. Because sure enough, she saw him and said, "Hey, Father, come sit by me." They started talking Catholicism. He played up the whole Catholic connection, but made it about Erika and Charlie. They exchanged numbers. He gave a lot of insight, just uh, building that connection, that bond, the honor you would feel by giving these by getting these inside stories by somebody, who was on the plane. And he invited her to go to mass the next morning before she headed back to, I don't remember where. For some reason, I'm thinking the Midwest somewhere. I did a whole post on this too. And he mentioned, I think he mentioned that Erica might be there. And the woman shared with Candace that she was really on the fence about going. And then the priest sent her a text that said, hope to see you, hope you can make it. And this woman took that as a nudge from God. Boy, as a fundraiser who raised money for over 20 years in Christian circles, the way that stuff, that I didn't do it, but I mean, not consciously, nothing like this, like, what's that movie about the con men? I think Steve Martin is one of the guys. Anyway, like it's a whole setup. So he messaged and I think said something about Erika being there. So she goes to mass and she's sitting up closer to the front. And she stays after mass to just sit and to pray. And she was overcome with a lot of emotion at this point that she had kind of withheld from expressing. And then she gets a tap on the shoulder. Stacy Sheridan, a woman who, from what I understand, gets a percentage of donors, the big donors, if she brings them in, which is not uncommon. That is not unique to Turning Point. I couldn't name the other ones, but that's not like a scandal situation. Of course, the percentage, and then I don't know what it is, but and then she's also set up as like a allegedly like not even like a double dipping, but a triple dipping situation. Just getting money if $1 million is coming in, that there are three different avenues like that it needs to go to before it lands in a certain Turning Point account, and she's connected to all of them that would, for example, get a percentage of that, just for an example. So Stacy Sheridan goes up, would you like to come, sit with Erika the day after the memorial? You would think a normal reaction would be to be kind of exhausted. Now, an argument could be made that she needed to, go to church, to whatever. There was also a security guy with them. And again, just the whole manipulation of the Catholic faith, the Catholic connection, the Catholic, yes, she was raised Catholic, Charlie's interest in the Catholic Church. And it was just like this whole seduction process. And it got her, this potential donor, to the December Mar-a-Lago event, which I mistakenly at one point thought that they were planning for. I mean, that they planned after his death. Like, we need to, take advantage of this fundraising opportunity. I read at one point that the plate cost per plate went from $5,000 to $10,000. I read that. Um, but I had also looked up at one point if Charlie Kirk's parents were at the memorial, and there was at least one source that said no, and then I found out later that yeah, they were there, which would make sense because Tyler Bo- Boyerson or whatever um, kind of motioned to them at one point, and they were at the um, December annual event that Erika went to, and Erika did the same thing, like addressed the parents. I know that like normal for a lot of us is nothing but a setting on a washing machine. I didn't come up with that, but nothing about this is normal at all. Okay. I do want oh. Okay, well this is going to come out. Um I want to share a couple things so I don't have to stop it every time. We're not going all the way through this, and I cut some parts out. Her speech at the leadership conference. I don't know what it's called exactly, but her picture's up there, from 2012. I don't show it here, but it's there because that's all she uses. The crowd was chanting, Erika, Erika, Erika. They have people that, not that they're like subversive like plants, but kind of, that get the cheers going, that get feedback going, because nothing in her delivery commands a response. Like there's no buildup, there's no emotion change. It's just a flat line. So she'll say something that she thinks is significant and was written to be significant, and in theory may be significant, but she'll just pause and look and like wait for the clapping. But it's so they got the chanting and the um standing ovation going like before she walked out. It's just so performative. And you don't get a full on view in this video, but referring back to the hug that she gave JD Vance, which by the way is a power move. Jack Prozac. What's the name? Jack Prozabic. You know who I'm talking about. Jack, is it Jack? You know, the guy always looks like he's got chew in the front of his mouth. Yeah. Um, Prozabic. um, he did a video that was like calling out Taylor Swift for being the dominant one in the relationship because of the way that she would use what he called a claw. And um, it was just a physical stance that Travis Kelce was the one leaning into her. And Charlie and Erika, it's the same. It's the same. It's the same. And Erika does this hand thing. So when she's on Megyn Kelly and says, it's just a hug, I just, she is very touchy. It's creepy weird. Because it's like a strokey touch usually. It's very weird. So, and the way the fingers in the hair, it's just weird. But she made fun of everybody. Like that's why the CEO thing came into question, because you knew she wasn't going to be teachable. She didn't listen to people that were on her own side. My point is, it was a power move. Like I have a hold of this man, or it's. And if you notice, JD Vance was detached because he's walking out to give his speech. So she would be looking for these intense moments, like when she latched onto Donald Trump, who was like stepped back and she leaned in more. If you notice, she even grabs his hand and like pulls him to the podium. I've been meaning to address that again, which has made me think, who has the power here? And if that has made me think she is really connected to Israel, to Bibi, because it was a power move. It was like, you are coming with me. Watch it again if you're interested in that. It's really interesting. But she was almost like, we haven't gotten the picture yet. I'm holding. Oh God, it was just, oh, it was repulsive. And for Trump to kind of push, like, it says a big deal. He was not having it. He was not having it. So, and that's not just me. Like, I would read that from anybody. Um, that was the first time I really like saw her, and it was after that whole event. I'm like, I'm going to start talking about it. So, hand in the hair. So my point is, when she comes out and when she hugs the people in this speech thing, they don't get that. They don't get that because she doesn't care. They're not significant. It's not the vice president. It's not somebody she's making a statement to, you know, both to the person and to the world. Like, this is how intimate we are. Yeah.
Well, and in most conservative churches or student groups, what kind of hug are you supposed to give?
Side hugs.
Yep.
Are y'all familiar with that? We were involved in an organization where I met Doug, actually, where at the time, I mean, it was called Campus Crusade for Christ, and now it's called Crew or something, CRU. I don't know. So, oh yeah, it was side hugs. It was side hugs, and it was all like on the women. Don't cause your brother to stumble, like in the swimsuit you wore, and oh my god, because it's all about the woman. It's all the responsibility is all the women's. The women's. Charlie talked about that, blatantly. He does these OnlyFans interviews, and on the Whatever podcast, another one that I wasn't familiar with. And one of the Whatever guys was creepy, gross, rude, just skanky to them. Charlie was very respectful, but it was the whole thing of um, maybe I don't something like men would get married sooner or um, have more integrity. I don't remember exactly, but if it weren't for the webcam industry or the porn industry, because it's not, it's not on the man themselves. It's the same school of thought as going after, all the drugs that are coming in, right? All the drugs that are coming in. An addict is going to find it somewhere. Like, so the core issue, mental health, um, you know, addiction centers. Clearly, there's a problem in the United States. If we healed people and offered services through healthcare, guess what? They'll avoid the drugs. If we sponsored support groups where people could go and have meetings and talk about their struggles, the plan, I have to believe now. Like, I'm so believing. I can say have to believe if I'm talking to myself. It's just have to, like, the only thing that makes sense to me is we know how under attack the internet was, and the bots were, it peaked, like, well, started up in like 2015, 2016. Just the divisiveness, the fake information, controlling who you would see, which was kind of the worst of whoever you were opposed to. No middle of the road people. So, and a lot of that was Russia based. But for our system, which the pastors are getting bought and sold, maybe not sold, but for the message, even through the churches, which is contrary to everything Jesus taught about taking care of each other, for us to pay for Israel's healthcare, the education, the da 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 da, but to tell each other, to condemn each other. There, all those things make us more divided and hateful and angry. And Doug, we were talking about this the other day, and it wasn't so it about how the strategy of an enemy country, per se, enemy country, because we're just told like who should be the enemies, is to discredit us. They don't have to invade us or blow us up. They just have to discredit us, to take away our power, our, being respected, which has been done. Has been done. It is my kids, um, my kids' kids someday. Like, I, the repercussions of this are going to be long standing, long term stand. But so the way that Turning Point is enmeshed in funding, oh, there is a moment where Megan Kelly, that August 6th podcast with Charlie that I keep referring to because it's so powerful, she makes a point of saying, at least, like, I don't take money from Israel. Like, I don't take money from a country like that could influence me and have that power. You see Charlie's demeanor just because they have. It's fascinating just how broken he is. In the midst of this stuff that went down, the pushback with the Tate and dividing, some people, even that were being supportive, were saying things like, I love both of you guys. And I was like, wait, there's no like disdain here. There's no, I've never left Team Candace. Like, there's no, but it just shows like the mentality of, if, okay, I can't, like, you know, although they were saying, they're supporting both, but it was worded in a way that it was something they were kind of overcoming in a sense to even have to say that. But I did say the whole Team Candace thing, so there was a lot of room for interpretation. Okay. In that, I had one moment of crying, and it would not even be considered, it was weeping. It was weeping because it gave me fraction, a fraction of insight into the torment that Charlie Kirk was going through. He could not win. People he loved, a country he loved, and reiterated that he loved, turned on him viciously. Viciously. I mean, it's one thing to be attacked by strangers, but when it's people that you have walked through with, and Charlie was close to his donors, like those top 20 donors. That's why when I say I've talked to 2 donors that are, were at the Aspen event, and they're like, nobody, he did not in any way say anything that indicated he was passing on anything to her. Nothing at all. But that in a one-on-one dinner, Mikey McCoy was there. This one donor, Charlie, Mikey McCoy. He was so excited about the high school expansion, the chapters. But when it turned to Israel, despondent, the energy shifted. And he said that he had just turned down $120 million because he was not going to start a Turning Point Israel. Now, what has Rob McCoy come out and said since? That Charlie, before his death, just days before, when they were in South Korea, told him that he wanted Rob to start Turning Point Israel. That Rob McCoy guy. Frank comes off to me as just really stupid, although they both come off idiotic, although Frank was in the car. But Brian Harple acts like Frank wasn't supposed to be in the car. Like, we don't know why he got in the car. But the need of Rob and Frank Turek to the self-importance. Oh my God, the air is just repulsive. It's just repulsive, more so than Erika to me. I mean, like, just, ugh. They're like the little demons in the movies, that follow around the main demon, and they're like more the annoying little ones. Okay. Okay. So what else was, oh yeah. So Charlie being, torn from both sides. He had, the Israel, the people charged, accusing of him of being anti-Semitic, that were his team, that he'd been defending them. And in doing so, he was getting oppression from the other side. So when I say, I cannot reiterate enough, just that this is just a fraction of insight, how me defending Candace, I get attacked from the left. I raise a question about Candace, people that are Team Candace, like, come at me. So, And then honestly, I thought, this is why they call it the candy cult. Like there is a cult mentality in a fraction. In a fraction. The majority, no. The majority might say, I'm disappointed in you or whatever, but not of everybody, of like the 21 people that left our community, our tribe. So it wasn't like this mass exodus kind of thing. So, and then I thought about Candace having to start over and how daunting that would be, but how amazing it turned out in the long run. So, anyway, I can take criticism, but if you're an asshole about it, I'm like, no, I don't play because this is my house. this this isn't like this is a private little, so if you're freedom of speech, yeah, let it rip and then I can hide it if I want to because this is my house. So when people come in and like they demand like you need to talk about this and you need to, sorry, my dog, you need to focus on this. Puppy, you okay? You need to focus on this and you should do this, and it's like are you going to come in and tell me what color I should paint the walls of my house? So I appreciate feedback, but like directives, like you wouldn't give Candace a directive. Maybe you would, and I'm not saying I'm nowhere like at that, but I'm still human. At my, it's not prideful for me to ask similar questions, or her ask her questions just because I don't have as many followers or something, some pushbacks were like, you've changed, you're not as like humble, or I'm like, I'm just me. So maybe more I got more sleep the night before. All right, I do want to watch, if you guys, if you're up for hanging out just a little bit more. um i I address, I already, so I don't have to stop it, the fact that they've worked up this crowd and there are plants there to start cheering for certain things, to start an Erika chant, and then the hug, which you only catch a glimpse of during this shot. The hand doesn't go on the head, doesn't go on the head. And I think I'll let it roll through this too. Have you noticed that it's mostly white crowds? So when there is a person of color in the crowd, the camera finds them. There were like 3 people at the memorial that the camera kept going to because that was pretty much it. Pretty much it. It cracked me up that the color guard that came out with the flags, there was not one person of color. And I know they're not referring to the color of people, but that's the kind of thing that amuses me. All right. All right. Here we go. So I don't need to stop it. And then I'll stop. The other thing is that when she gets up there, other than the God bless you, think of the energy she walks out to, and then it is dead air. When I edit her stuff down, a significant, at least 15% of it is just the dead air. The pauses are bizarrely long. Okay. Add to stage.
Love you too.
Person of color.
Last year when Charlie was on this stage, I have watched that speech, I can't tell you how many times. And I can't tell you how many times my son and daughter have watched that speech.
Sentence structure right off the bat. Last year when Charlie was up here on the stage, you can hear it for yourselves. I can't tell you how many times. She'll do that continuously. Start a sentence and then it goes boom, and they don't fit together at all. Now, how many times have we heard Erika say that Her kids watch this video all the time. Her kids watch the podcast all the time. Her kids have watched this speech all the time. Can we bear in mind, like, yes, it is daddy on the screen, but we're talking a 3-year-old. Is Gigi getting ready to turn 4, I think? And Mac is maybe going on 2. So how many times do they have screens going, like, everywhere of all this? Do they fall asleep to it? Is it going when it's not possible for them to? Do you really think Erica has sat around and watched these videos? God, remember, it was December, and she said, it took me months to go into our bedroom. It was December. It had been 3 months. Technically, yes, that's three. That's months. 2 months. When she was in the podcast room 2 days in, I can't remember the last time I slept. The night before last, because that's what you told us. Gigi slept with you. And yeah, the kung fu outfit is just, and I don't know what kind of hand in the pocket, but she is so coming out as herself, and it ain't the girly girl. This woman, what's her relationship with Tracy Martin? Erica, you would never, no, you wouldn't, no. She doesn't come off as straight, not even a little bit. What are you going to say, honey? You look like you had a thought. You took a breath, and then what? Are you filtering yourself? You are. You're filtering yourself. What do you want to say?
I'm hanging on the edge of my seat to see what she says next.
No, those few things. I let it roll a lot. This is the point where Doug is like, done. All right.
This event is the final event that was on my husband's calendar.
Oh my God. This event is the final event. So I was like, you going to go home now? You going to go home? You done? Obviously, she wasn't. She did. So my obligations are met. Now I'm just going to do whatever I want. Now, the heart of what she does here is she sets a foundation for shame. First of all, she sets Charlie up as this messianic character, figure, and that he did it perfectly and she does it perfectly because she presses through, and they are less than if they don't do it this way. This is the kind of stuff that pisses me off because this is why people in the church will so often struggle with depression and isolate themselves. There's a lack of transparency because if you feel that you're falling short, but the message from up front is that you should be able to press through because life is hard and I've done it. It's self condemnation. There is no grace. She never talks about grace. It is you will do this or you are doing this. It is directives because that's what narcissists do because they don't think anyone's going to question them. It's you will do this. You are doing this, which is not necessarily. But this is bizarre.
Throughout this whole time, I have had so many people ask, why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? Why are you doing his book tour? Let me tell you something.
Sure, tell us again, bitch. Pardon me. She has nonstop, 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 nonstop been telling us the same thing over and over and over and over. And this whole spiel here, it's all about her. It's all about her. She's supposed to be encouraging the leadership and her, what is this? I'm cool. casual, and I'm in my pajamas, and this is what you should be doing because I did it. I just, ugh. Thank you for letting me share. See why we need support groups. I guess this qualifies. Ugh, ugh.
First and foremost, when you have commitments, especially those that your loved one has made, you follow through on them. And it doesn't matter how hard it is, doesn't matter how tough life is, you gave your word. And between my husband and I, our word is our bond. And so when it did come to his last book, could have been about finance. I know nothing about finance.
And she thinks it's cute. It's cute. The girls are all giggly because why would women know anything about finance? Because the men are supposed to take care of all that. Charlie was very clear. And she too in this podcast, I think it's the last one they did together. It was she said, "I love you taking care of that. I watch my mom struggle with it. I love that you're taking care of that. I don't have to worry about it." Charlie would say that was the part of the problem with the feminist movement, that once they learned how to do things for themselves, the divorce rate increased. That's the women's fault. They weren't married to other women at the time, so maybe there's something else a little broken there.
You know what the immediate thought was? Well, how did women take care of themselves when all the men were in World War II? Like, that's so easily to break down that kind of idiotic logic.
And that was a big deal because the women, man, stepped up. There was a great show. There was a series I was so into. And the guy that was is the coach on Friday Night Lights, Kyle something. I think it was called
Home front.
Homefront.
Hmm.
Man, I want to watch that again. But the women, I think it starts about the time where men are coming back, and women who have had this, independence and just enjoyed working. I'd have no problem if Erica was just like, yeah, this is going against the flow, but man, like, I just want to work. You know, my kids are not going to be neglected, but this is what I want to do. But this BS spiel she gives, which is all lies. It's all lies. What was she? What was she saying? What was she saying? Oh,
And it
money.
was about something that was so intricate to our family dynamic.
All right. What I skipped over was that the book wasn't about finance because I'm a girl. I don't do, but um, the women's leadership retreat, by the way, was about women not being leaders. Fascinating, but it was faith oriented, which is something very intricate to her family. Intricate. What does intricate mean, ladies and gentlemen? It's something that's complicated. It's made up of little bitty pieces that it's something you have to overcome. It's a central part to our family. What are other things you could say? Intricate is in no way, unless she is saying this was a complicated issue that Charlie and I really had to work through, and with the kids it was a lot to juggle, and I don't really subscribe to the Sabbath. I mean, she has said many times that she has a hard time, just take an hour here and there, which is not the Sabbath, you know, but that's not what she's saying. She's saying it's um, a central part of their That's not the word. And she's supposed to be what? MAGA, MAGA, and summa cum laude, cum laude. I was never either, so I haven't had a lot of practice pronouncing it. That's one of the reasons I have gone after her blatant stupidity. Stupidity, ignorance. She's not book smart. She comes off stupid. She comes off like fourth, fifth grade English as a second language stupid. I'm not exaggerating. She has like 6 talking points that she sticks to. Blueprint. How many times have you heard blueprint? And she slaughters that whole thing. Intricate. It's not the word. Hey, but she pronounced it, Andrew. She pronounced it. Just the wrong freaking word, you moron.
So what do? Do you let someone else do the book tour? Sure, they could. You could have a pastor do it. We had a few pastors get up on Fox and other places to talk about it. It's fine.
Look at her face.
Do you wait 2 years and then do the book tour? Sure, I guess. Is it really that relevant? It'll always be relevant, but is it still on that commitment schedule that your husband had?
Will it still be relevant? It'll always wait. I can't say that because I got to sell the book. It'll always be relevant, but the commitment schedule, maybe that's being a little picky, but to the commitments he had, it's not honoring the commitments he had. She can't get these. And again, Andrew pointed out what 4 words that Candace mispronounced, but they were the right words. Erika sounds like an idiot, which is why she's putting on this voice. And I've said before, women, you don't have to talk like a man to have authority. Her little kung fu outfit and hand in pocket. And I'm telling you, she's letting her, it's like she's coming out. She won't, but yeah.
So you do the book tour. You go to AmFest. You go to college campuses. You talk to the students. You pop into the chapter meetings. You do the hard thing.
Award
You do the
shows.
right thing. And that's what my husband did every single day. Every day.
Morons. Morons. So, kids, if somebody significant in your life dies, girlfriend, boyfriend, mom, dad, get the F over it. Because Turning Point needs you to table. That's what this whole spiel is about. That's what she came out of the gate in his studio. He would want you to work hard. He'd want you know what Charlie would want. You know what Charlie would want you to do. I don't even have to tell you because I don't think she can. On a Fox interview, she was asked like a central message. She couldn't answer it. Went on about that she would get kids on school buses to drag them to the polls if she had to, because they are a means to an end. She doesn't care about them. She does not care about them. A means. She just proved it. Something's wrong with you if you need a mental health break, which she clearly should have taken, even if it were to squeeze in a few acting classes of how to feign grief, because she comes off like she has a psychosis where she has to think, how would a normal person respond in this moment? I forgive him. This is a poopy cry face. And if you watch it, she does a little look up. When she looks down, she raises her head on cue, whether it's interviews, at least she did in the several first ones, or if music's involved, like she out at the memorial, the crescendo builds and on cue. It's just crazy. It's nuts. She did a double in the CBS interview, the town hall. She she lifted her head as she was introduced as, I don't know. One it was the wife of I don't know, but it was like a two-part introduction. So the head went up and then the eyes went up. It was weird. It was robotic. I tell you, her language patterns are so off. I'm not like a big clone conspiracy person, but I'm like, this is really weird. I need to go back and watch more of. No, I have gone back. She's an idiot. She's been an idiot for decades. There's a speech like she's sitting cross-legged talking to a group. Is anyone here entrepreneurs? Is anyone else here an entrepreneur? I know it's a turning point word, but it's just, what?
It, the video's freezing up a little bit. That's why I took the video off to see if that helped.
Yeah, it's a delay. Can they still hear me?
Yeah,
Okay. But we hardwired, so this shouldn't happen.
now it's stopped.
Are we? No, I'm still behind
Oh,
on my screen.
yeah.
Hello, future self or past self. I love you. Stop being so hard on yourself. Oh my gosh, you guys, when my son left to go to Japan today, because he sold his car, I don't want to give the impression that I have $800 blouses in my closet. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Oh my gosh. He's kind of like a side hug mom kind of person. But when he left today, he got teary because we're really close. He was like kind of just teary. And he said, I'm so proud of you. And I was like, why? Of what? And he goes, he said, your career. And I know he's talking about you guys and doing this. And so funny. I don't like think career. It's more like my support group. What were you saying, babe?
It seems to have caught up.
Are we good?
Yeah.
No, I still have a delay. But as long as you guys can hear me. Well, if I hit the video, it's going to be
It's
behind.
not going to make it any worse.
All right, guys. I really thought we would make it through one without this technical stuff. I'm so disappointed. All right, but they can still see the video though.
Yeah.
My timing is just going to be off. Now, where did the video go? Oh,
And that's what you guys do every day. You all flew here from across the country. I can take a plane too to be here after I've been through hell this past week.
you understand what she's inverted that thought. What she's really saying, but probably couldn't just think of a way to say it, is if I can get here, considering the hell I've been through, you can get here. Because what she's saying doesn't make any the way she sets it up doesn't make sense. If you can get here on a plane, then I can get here too, even though I've been through hell. I'm taking my private plane. God, if you're somebody who's like $10 a month, $20 a month donation to Turning Point, the things that you're paying for, the jet setting. Oh my gosh. Indirect routes the plane has gone. Oh my god. Oh, and those huge like those donor retreats in Aspen, you're paying for those too. You will never get invited, but you're paying for those. They don't pay. They fly there. Everything else paid for. And these rooms are 1,800 up to $7,000 a night. You'll never go. Just like the ballroom or the bunker or whatever it is.
How many of you have gone through hell these past 10 months? Raise your hand. Yep. How many of you had your life change in a negative way in the past 10 months? Raise your hand. Yep, same. You're in good company.
It's so hard not to cuss through this. What is she trying to do? Work up anger? What is that? You're in good company. You're in good company because I've had a horrible time too. Why would those kids have gone through hell in the last 10 months? Mourning, yes. Going through hell. It's bizarre. Just so weird.
But what did Charlie say? He would say, life has suffering, and it does, and it sucks. But you choose the people that you have along the side while you're going through that suffering.
Along the side, you choose the people you have along the side. The side of what? Along the side of what? She means her. What an idiot. She's saying, get over it. Life is tough. And they're just cheering. They're just cheering like brain dead, wound up zombie people. There is no message there that is healthy. Nothing biblical. And when she tries to go there, she screws that up big time. It's obscene. It's vulgar. And the Bible's really clear about teachers that lead others astray. Has to do with a millstone being tied around your neck and cast into water. You know, the millstone that the ox like grind around. The ox who share burdens, share the load with the whatever the thing is, the
Yoke.
the yoke. Thank you. My yoke is light, or my your burden is heavy. My yoke is light, which means you turn it over, you share it. You don't just push through.
And all of you in this room are those people who I am so proud to have in my army as I go through this battle against Satan. So
as she goes through the battle, we're all going through a hellish year, hellish 10 months. But you are here to support me as I go through this battle against Satan.
Her army,
Her army.
not God's.
Sorry. They are joining her army. I heard that, and you bet your butt I cussed. That's cult talk, people. That is cult talk. And she hit the ground running with it. The memorial service, these events, cult talk. Come home. Come home. Family, we're family. She'll repeatedly say things like the world doesn't understand you, but you're the greatest generation. Don't let anybody talk down to you. Alienate yourself from those people. If they challenge you, if they speak against us, come home. separate yourself because we get you. It's scary. And that army talk is effed up big time.
You have the internet coming after you. You have them slandering your name. You have them saying all this trash about you because people are watching you and they would love to see you fall. They would love to see the world break you. They would love it.
To state the obvious, she's not talking about them. Oh my God, that horrified me. Oh my God, I'm so sorry, y'all. I lost track of time. Our son comes home from work at 9:30. I'm so sorry, you guys. Was that piercing as well? Because, oh my God. I've had that happen where I'm sitting on the couch and one of them is directly behind me. It's like, oh my God. Um, what was that saying? What was I saying? I don't do drinking games, but those days are long gone. But I'd say like take a sip of your wine every time I like lose track of. But it wouldn't take long before you wouldn't even notice. Oh my God, it's just about her. It's what they can do for her. In the town hall with Barry Weiss, she's trying to she doesn't care. She doesn't care what anybody else says about her, even though she addresses it every freaking time. She says, I care about my 3-year-old daughter running up into my arms and loving me. Sorry, the dogs are starting to dance. Um, not about her. Not about her. Wouldn't your inclination be, my concern is taking care of my kids? They've lost their dad. No, it's about what her 3-year-old daughter has to offer her. It's repulsive and it's sickening. It's maddening. It reveals the spiritual battle at play. That people can't see this. That people can't look at the Tyler Robinson stuff. That people can't even consider some of the Tate stuff. Because there is so much conspiracy stuff going on right now. What? Well, as last time. People couldn't hear me. You guys, I'm so sorry. She's evil. She is evil.
We are on enemy-occupied territory, and the devil would love nothing.
Isn't it in? We are in enemy, not on. I've never heard anybody say on. That's the kind of thing she does all the time. I know I speak out against saying, never, always. That it's safe to do with her. She rarely gets through a sentence without jacking it up somehow.
Nothing more than to be in the middle of your head. You have someone you love no longer with you. You look at this world way differently. Way differently. My focus and my fixation is heaven forward. I do not care what this world tries to do to me to break me, because it won't. Every single day that I wake up, I make sure that the Holy Spirit has room within me, less of me, more of it.
All right, we're getting into some theology stuff here. Sorry, there was so much there. There's this thing called the Trinity. So, if you subscribe to the gospel of being, you invite Jesus into your life, into your heart, it's a package deal. The Holy Spirit is there. The way she is communicating this is that she has power over the Holy Spirit. Now, if she's saying that she needs to develop discipline to improve her mindset, to tap into what is already there, that's a different message. It's there. It's acknowledging what is there, but that involves humility. The way that she is saying this is narcissistic. It's, I am going to like put this on. And this is why they focus a lot on the Old Testament God, the power, the wrath, instead of the humility of being, God, I need you. I can't do this. I'm exhausted. I can't do this. I got nothing. I got nothing. I don't want to get out of bed. I don't want to eat. The farthest I've walked in a month is to the mailbox. I can't do it. I'm angry. I'm depressed. This illness is consuming my body in a way that it's impacting my hope, my ability to think positively. I've got nothing. Help me. I used to be only be able to pray, I am yours, save me. Not in the sense of a salvation, like so I'm not talking about like a losing salvation and a redeclaration. It's save me today. There were times if I made it to morning, probably at least 3 times in my life, where me making it to morning was miraculous. The way that she is presenting this is that there is something wrong with you if you don't get up and you don't do this thing, as opposed to just asking for help to get up because it's hard. That it's hard to press through whatever challenges they have. She doesn't even acknowledge that they would have any, except for this blanket statement of, my husband died, so clearly we're all going through, you're all feeling what I'm feeling, which would be really weird. That extent. Think about how Turning Point and Erika has dismissed Candace. Candace, you weren't his wife. Why are you acting like his wife? Like he didn't choose you. Like he'll and by the way, when I look at videos from the past and of them together, he beams around her in a way I have never seen him beam around Erika. Never. It's almost like he has to ask for help to enjoy her. He enjoyed Candace as a friend. It makes me sad when people have to romanticize it, like, oh, they were in love, or she was in love with him, because of course she's a woman, and we're just gonna fall in love. with a man who is a good guy who, whatever. I watched a movie recently. It's the one about, what's it called? It's tennis, but it's not tennis.
The Challenger.
The movie's called The Challenger, and it's Mary, it's Ted Danson's
Oh, wait. Not the one we saw.
The Pickleball, the
Dink.
Dink. And it's just out recently, right?
Yeah.
Oh. All right, I'm not going to do a spoiler. It's a fun movie. It's just like a chill movie. You think that they're setting their relationship up for the most predictable thing, and there's a twist to it. And I thought, I was so convicted of how I was taking it another way. Next time I bring this up, I'm going to talk about it specifically, so you've been warned. But it's good. I love the cast, and God, she's demonic. It is literally about creating an army of like minion. Just, but see, these are kids inundated with a message. If you love the country, you've got to be conservative. She has said in that, when she was dressed up like Janet Jackson, we love the country. They don't. I got words going through my head. Coach Colin is like, don't cuss. I used to really, but in these podcast circles, y'all don't. So, I mean, you might, but okay. It's so funny because Coach Colin was like, call in and you can make this statement, but don't, cuss. Or if you don't cuss, or like I couldn't control it, like I had Tourette's or something. It was funny. Okay. Ugh.
So that God can use me in ways that he needs to. My stage at AmFest, and he surrendered without you guys knowing. And what's so
I'm sorry, I have to interrupt. So that God can use me the way he needs to. God can't use her the way he needs to unless she does something. How little is her God? You think God needs us for anything? The God of whatever your understanding is? You think like we're like, really? You think God, if he wants to move something from point A to, well, if we don't. Now, we could miss out on a blessing. Like, I'm giving you a go. I'm giving you this opportunity. And we're like, no. But he'll get it done. And he'll get us to where we need to be. It could be a straight shot from A to B, or because we choose A1, A2, A3, and then A4 is down here. It's not like an upward trajectory. If up is like doing better or whatever, you know what I mean? It's like this. But guess what? The Holy Spirit, according to the Word of God, according to the Bible, according to the gospel, is there. Is there. It's acknowledging it. It's not like this power you have over God. I want to flick her in the face on the screen, not like in person.
interesting about all of this is you have people who understand marriage, and then you have people who don't. You have people who are in happy marriages and you have people who aren't. And you can tell it very clearly, whether it's them on the internet, whether it's them in front of your face. Let me tell you something about marriage. When you find the one that God has made for you, whether that's your husband or your wife, you will be so in lockstep with one another that there is no daylight or separation between you guys. That, and I pray none of you.
That, my friends, is called codependency. That is essentially making the other person your Jesus. That is an impossible standard. That is losing your autonomy completely, which is what they teach women to do, but not the men. The men follow their calling, and you're there to support them and to be keeper of the home. Charlie, the night before, texted people saying they're going to kill me. Erika was on Glenn Beck in November of 2025. I believe it was November. And said very arrogantly, and Charlie didn't do that. He didn't do that. He wasn't texting people saying they're going to kill me. And I know because I have his phone. Why didn't he just tell you? You were in the same structure. That would kind of help build this theory that they were fighting the night before. And what I've said for a while now, I don't think we've talked about it on here, is that she didn't go the next day because he told her not to. He didn't want her around. The Laura Ingraham interview where he's looking to the side, he's glaring. We don't know who he's glaring at. But it's in their home. The wedding picture was up then. For the Glenn Beck interview in November, it was gone. I'm convinced, for a multitude of reasons, that they fought the night before and he told her not to go. And she came up with this home needs you thing. Now, how do we know that is a pile of crap? Because wouldn't home need her more now? Her mom is still dying, apparently, of some rare disease. And I'm starting to wonder, how did she get that? You know, rare diseases have names. She's clearly sick. But why would you not share what it is? Like, why would that be a secret? He had been gone for a while. He'd been out of the country and they didn't sleep in the same bed. Saying he was up the night before because he was excited. No, he had just told people someone was gonna kill him. But he didn't tell her. What else would you need? That is the most blaring piece of evidence that she was not his vault, the keeper of his secrets. She wasn't even added to a group text, a group chat. I think the reason we hear her say, I was his vault. He told me everything. She's soon going to say the because she's overcompensating, because clearly she was not. He was saying they wanted 5 children. He wanted 5 children. I shared an interview a couple days ago where she is asked if they're going to have more than 2, and she's like, I don't know. I had 2 C-sections, and I don't know if Charlie needs to see my guts again. Well, apparently he doesn't care because he wants 5. That's a big deal. Charlie always talked about a lot of kids. Even I know that. She's like, 2, no. Done. Pregnancies clearly weren't evil. I mean, evil, were probably evil. Um, weren't easy because she hid out. I've never seen a picture of her pregnant. Now, I either had a neighbor comment, I think it was a neighbor, who was like, yeah, we've seen her pregnant. Like it wasn't public, but who knows who that person commenting was at this point. I wasn't that tuned into or otherwise I would have asked some more questions. Um, God, it's just, but it's overcompensating. So she's going to say at some point that Charlie was up on stage and he said, here I am, send me, but you guys don't know that. But he told, but I'm his wife. So I knew it. Everybody knew it. He was on stage. He was on stage. Everybody knew it. I watched the clip. I looked it up. It wasn't a secret. That's mental illness. That's mental illness. What's going on? The dogs are dancing. Their nails on the floor. But that's like a sickness. Oh, I got it. I gotta shut this door. Hold on. I'm sorry. Go on. I've never walked away before. Baron didn't even want to turn away because he didn't turn a light on. This is Bubby. I swear, like all day, she just follows me and then sits and stares at me. And sometimes I feel bad that I'm not more entertaining. So anyway, the whole idea that she's claiming that he only told her need to be special and important for her position and her pontificating, it's pathetic. That's a lot of P words. It's pathetic. That's exactly why somebody like that would lie about their education status, would claim to have played college basketball for 2 years instead of 1, who would claim that she traveled the world not following her boyfriend basketball player, but do charity work, that she was doing charity work, that she had a successful business before she got married. Here's the deal, though. Charlie let her keep telling that story. That just now occurred to me. That was central. Is central. It's a justification in a sense. Here's my example. I had a successful business. She was never living off. It wasn't even up. It wasn't even the LLC or what. Nothing had been filed. It didn't exist technically as a company. Tracy Martin had to do the designs for her because she wouldn't like get going. I mean, Tracy like brags on like her role for her birthday was to create these designs. And she's like, now get going. Now go do it. Erika couldn't even do it on her own. And we're talking putting designs on t-shirts and sweatshirts. I do it. It's not rocket science. Can they hear me? I know the video is being weird. Yeah. Okay. All right.
Have to experience this. But when your spouse goes to heaven, you have made that covenant on the altar with the Lord that if something happened to them, God steps in and fills that void.
Why wouldn't he have filled it to begin with? That's idiotic. That's idiotic. It's also not believing the gospel. That woman is not a Christian. She doesn't believe the gospel. She doesn't understand it. God doesn't portion himself. God is there, and we tune in or deny or run from whatever, again. You understand like how blasphemous that is? The arrogance. She's special. Goes with the theme. She's special. She's different. She's like, there are no words. There's no earthly words I can come up with, worldly words to explain it to you people who haven't experienced God like I have. Because Charlie, who, I was his vaults and I've made a covenant. There's nothing biblical about what she is saying. Nothing. God does not portion himself, herself. It's their self. It's absurd. It's ridiculous. And it just, I get so angry because she's teaching this to kids.
He built this machine, and I watched him do it. And I stood by his side through every sleepless night, through every moment of concern, through every phone call, through every high, through every low, of the things he could.
Every phone call, every freaking phone call. Anybody with common sense there would go, she's full of it. Every phone call. Plus, we know from people I know that were in Aspen, they didn't see her. The major donor retreat, secret Aspen retreat, secret donor retreat. The top 20 donors. If he had any intention of turning it over to her, she would be in front of them. If the contingency plan that she would take over someday, she would be there. They never saw her. I'm not saying she wasn't there, but she was not interacting with them. This one donor, we're talking big money. Never met her. Frank Turek never had a conversation with her until the hospital, he says. Graham Allen didn't know her. And then he's like, why would I? It's the wife of my friend. Nobody knew her. People didn't know her. But it's part of the stick that she was right there, right by his side. Okay. And why would she have to say that anyway? If they had a good marriage, I've said this before, if something happened to Doug, I wouldn't go on about how much he trusted me or how much he told me things and how I know this, but you wouldn't because we're married. She said that consistently, like over years, not just, she has a desperate need to be seen and validated, and to the point where she lies and fabricates to create a narrative. I've said this before, but I guarantee you that when she was at that Megyn Kelly interview in November, and when she said, when I saw that video, and Charlie, I immediately was like, what video? I halfway got through a video going, Candace, what video? What video? Candace, what video? And then I chickened out. And then she's talking about this. I guarantee Turning Point was like, what did she just do? Stupid. Stupid. What?
I'm laughing at where our son can sleep at night.
Can you post a picture of that? Okay, our son is in Tokyo and he's going to stay in one of those pod capsules hotels. Um, Doug's going to, how much is it? So Japan is known to be a like a quiet culture, like very respectful of each other's space. So even though he's going to be in this pod and there are pods all around, he's going to share a picture. Like it's quiet and respectful and he just needs a place to crash out. I went to a Korean spa one time and they had this room that had these egg kind of pod things and it was kind of close to the airport and like stewards would come and spend the night. It was like $30 and they would crash there because LA, the hotels are obscene, like how expensive they are.
It's like $40 to $50. Might be cheaper there though. I mean, that's if you're booking it in America.
Oh, yeah. So around $40. That does seem a little high though. He has a friend he's going to be staying with, but the girlfriend's parents are there. Oh, you put it up. I love it. He went with just a backpack that weighed like 15 pounds. Is that it? It's Zip Air, and it's kind of one of those a la carte airlines. And if you're gonna, another bag or whatever, and he wants to shop there. He wants to go to the stores. Excuse me, the thrift stores, which I love. That
Control
is
and the
so
things he
cool.
couldn't.
All
I
right.
was there.
No, you weren't.
I was his vault. I was his
Liar.
confidant. And when you find the right person, it's not painful. It's not hindering. Women, you let your husband do what God has called him to do, and you support him because you are the guardian of the home. And when you see and you have that covenant, you have to think of it, thinking of like a worldly way to explain it, but to me,
She who cannot form a sentence. How can I explain this to you? I saw Blake Neff do that before too. How can we explain this? This idea that if you are lock and step, like that you have the partner that God wants you to have, that she's making it sound like it's just smooth sailing. Like you don't fight. Billy Graham's daughter thought she was destined for a divorce because they argued when they got married and she never saw her parents argue. It's ridiculous. She's doing nothing but set them up to fail. And as someone who worked with kids for so long, it just it so no wonder I'm in this. No wonder I'm no wonder I care about this. You'll hear them talk about a revival. There was a revival going, but then Candace came along because she's more powerful than God and derailed is the word, the revival. No, the revival's happening. Just not necessarily to the people you want it to because you fire me up and I'm still figuring it out. I don't like the question, are you a Christian? What's up? Do you see anything Christ-like in me? If yes, then sure, I am. The more I learn, the more I realize I don't know. Be wary of people who know, especially the ones where you're expressing a frustration online and they go, just wait, you'll see. Just wait. That drives me nuts.
Super chat, somebody just gave $50 for Michael's pod.
Oh, You guys, oh my God. Oh, you have no idea. You have no idea. I encouraged him to like, I'm trying to encourage him to share his thing because is not like a kid that has like a lot of money or anything. So that, thank you.
Thumbelina Grace.
Thumbelina? Thumbelina? Thank you. Grace? Thank you. Thank you. You guys, we don't take any of the gifts for granted. We don't. When you you know, the super chats, they take a percentage of super chats too, but when you order like our gift company, which we started in 2006, and then I set it to the side to focus on my family. No, that was sarcasm. It started when I had 7 kids at home under the age of 11 because I couldn't do anything else. And it was just, you know, getting t-shirts printed with a logo that, you know, handwriting that is mine, a flower doodle that my grandmother taught my mom, who taught me think happy stuff because I wasn't. I was struggling and I needed the reminder. And I realized that every little thing makes a difference if it is the freaking mug that I drink out of. Look, this is my favorite color. Doug calls it plum. Plum. Is that how it's on the website? Plum. 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 I guess eggplant would have a little more red hue to it. Anyway. What? What? I don't know what you're talking about, and I don't think I want to know. Oh, okay. Because isn't eggplant like a innuendo? And I don't, seriously, I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. And I'm not going to look it up while you guys are here. But when this started to just bring in a little bit of income, at that time, Doug lost his job because of, you know, tariffs had something to do with it. It did. The supply chain, window business, they moved a bunch of people to a cheaper area, whatever. And we were kind of like, okay. So this had just started and there was some momentum going. And we rebooted the whole Think Happy stuff thing. And I love that you're getting it for yourself and to share with other people. And so it's just thinkhappystuff.com, which is scrolling across the bottom. And the new sweatshirts, which are in gorgeous colors, are not going to be up till
Monday. By Monday.
What day is it today?
Friday.
What you doing this week?
You have decisions.
What decisions do I have to make?
Colors of logo. What's getting what logo? You've got a busy schedule. It's hard to pin you down.
It's been great for us to partner in this way. And Doug is my best friend, but he can get on my nerves. But he's giving me the heart hands right now. But this whole idea that you're lock and step and everything is perfect and what you make love 7 nights, you know, out of the week. You know what? Come on. And the kids never cry or need potty training. I just want to live long enough to see her kids become teenagers. So all I want.
Think of it as a cathedral. Let's say you're in Paris and you see the most beautiful cathedral with these stained glass windows. The cathedral is your husband, strong on the outside, looking at it. It's beautiful, it's strong, holds the weight of the entire cathedral, but those stained glass windows are the wife. And if you remove the frame of the cathedral, those stained glass windows shatter. They're useless. And if you have the cathedral without the stained glass windows, what is it? Just an empty thing of concrete. Sure, it still serves its purpose, but it's not complete. So it goes hand in hand. One is not a weaker vessel than the other.
She just said it was. She just said the whole thing crumbles if the structure falls down. And she called the cathedral, the whole cathedral. She called the men the entire cathedral, which would include the windows. And what's that mean for windows, the stained glass windows? They're just the pretty part. You're just the pretty part. You don't need to know about finances, like she said. She giggled. Charlie was a virgin. She was not. Now, I don't care, please. But we're talking like several times over based on the long-term relationships. It's an easy speculation. It's a fair assumption. All she had to do was study up on things Charlie Kirk likes to talk about, which she said in that first podcast they did together where she sabotaged the whole thing by I can't look at you, like I can't look at you, you're so handsome, and he's getting aggravated. She's not being shy and demure, and she was on a bikini on a stage. It's just so transparent. We see you, and I know you see me too sometimes, so good.
And you build together. My daughter will be in Club America in 10 years, but my children are going to be looking at every single one of you as they grow up, because you are an extension of my husband. You will never replace him. He's irreplaceable. And you will be able to show them how to chart the path. Charlie would say,
But Charlie left all the plans. Charlie left the blueprint. And if the cathedral's already built, what do you have to build together in regard to the cathedral? Her metaphors, her analogies, they don't make sense, ever. Ever. It's idiotic, and they are losing support. They have lost major donors. Major donors. Big money. A lot of people that were asking questions, students they're being very public. Staff, the leaks that are coming out. People staying to work there so they can get information out. They can't trust anybody. It's why they had a mass firing, because you asked a question. You can't question. That's not Charlie Kirk. That's not what he was about.
it doesn't take talent to be courageous. I agree with that. But it takes consistency, and it's
Why would she even have to say they agreed? That she agreed? Because they're lock and step and everything. But I agreed with that. Listen to that tone. I agreed with that. I'm going to validate what he was saying. He's right. I agree with that.
a muscle. You show up and you fight. Metaphorically, but hear me out. And someone asked me, do you still want to go to the chapter leadership summit? And I sat there and I thought, I already knew my answer, but I just thought about it. And I thought to myself, you know, if you Don't fight for what's right. I would much rather our country look like this room than the inside of that courtroom. So that means having...
They go nuts. What the hell does that even mean? Doesn't finish one sentence. I would much rather the country look white people. What? See, there have been times where she has chosen the wrong word and I have like fixated on that. There's an example coming up and I'm like, "Oh my god, what is she saying?" I'm realizing in the last few weeks I caught on that she doesn't know the definitions of some of the words she's used, like intricate. Communicate something completely different. That's not what she meant to say. I've I've said for a while now her ignorance works for her. Like if she, of course she wouldn't ever admit she was wrong, but it's just you guys.
hard conversations. You are a leader, you are not a follower. So you have a heavier weight and burden on your shoulders, but I swear every morning when you wake up, if you need that courage, you say to yourself out loud, God, do not give me any less of a burden on my shoulders, just give me stronger shoulders. And I swear every time you pray that prayer, your shoulders will be set back even further and you will have a heavy load, but you will be able to stand and you will be able to walk in ways that people can only describe it as the Holy Spirit.
Nothing in that was biblical. It's self-serving. Don't ask for cast your cares upon me. There's so many Bible verses about sharing burdens, about burdens and cares being lessened, not buck up. Buck up, camper. Nowhere is that indicated. Nowhere is that indicated. Just buck up. Just put your shoulders back. Because you're doing this for my kids, for Charlie's kids, because they're going to be watching you because you represent Charlie. So you get out there, you spread these talking points, you make sure they vote Republican because Republicans support Israel and we'll keep giving them the money and whatever their agenda is. Whatever they want. It's the machine. When she talks about the machine, that's what she's talking about. Feeding the beast. Literally, the beast.
I want you guys to take the time as you go into this fall semester and be creative. All of you are brilliant in your own way, and all of you bring a different piece to the puzzle of Turning Point USA. And I want you to think outside of the four walls of your school and outside of the four walls of your chapter member group and outside of the meeting that you have. But you cannot forget the grassroots movement that this organization was founded on. Meetings, and you're saying, hey, it's spring, summertime, people are checking out. People will always check out. Control what you can control, and that is yourself. And that is also being able to control and make environments for people that create memories, that have that grassroots impact.
Yourself. Period. Period. But she's saying you can create a space for people to have memories. What's involved in creating a space? Probably working with other people. And then she goes on to, I interrupted, but slaughter the word grassroots. Build on a grassroots.
Impact. I know that some of you do know this, but some of you do not, because some of you might be new and post 9/10. We are not 2 years old. We are 14 years old. 14 years.
Notice she's saying that's a long time. We're 14 years old. We are. That's how long her picture has been around. That's how old her picture is. The one she uses for all the promotions. 14 years ago. Does she think we can't tell? That's delusional. That's like crazy. I know people who have walked out of lunches that were like meeting somebody for a date, or maybe didn't even walk up to the table because the person didn't look like their picture. Yeah, she's recognizable, but really, have you also noticed like how thick her filters are when she does one? Now, I've had work done. Okay, I wouldn't put up a picture 14 years old. It's just it's mind boggling to me. 14 years. We've been around 14 years. That is so long. When was your picture taken, Erika? She doesn't mind being in front of the camera. So what's going on there other than vanity?
Husband had a vision for this organization that he entrusted into me, and I know that very well. But what
Entrusted into her, and she knows that very well. He entrusted it into her, and she knows that very well. What's her first language, you think? Doesn't appear to be English.
he did leave us was the blueprint. He left us the blueprint to follow. And so for those of you who do know about Turning Point, this will be a reminder for those of you who don't. Much more to us than just.
For those of you who don't, then what? She doesn't finish that. I'm going to let this play. But take note, she points out Charlie left a blueprint. So we don't have to worry about Charlie left a blueprint that she is now going to say they don't really need it because they got plans.
Our chapters, but our chapters are one of the top most important portions of the organization. So all of you do know about NFP, our field program, and all of that. And we are starting to get back on our feet after everything that happened in 9/10. Our team was talking about the things that we're going to be building as we move forward through the pain. And here's the difference, is that there are people out there where pain and grief will break you. But all of you in this room are very similar to me. The DNA is very similar.
Does she lack such self-awareness? It's absurd. Obviously, she does. If somebody played a reel of the clips of her, I just want to go home, or her staring into the camera, like, oh my God, her interview, the CBS interview, where she's contorting. You can like, I did a video, I'm like, and that's where the demon takes over. It's scary. She's in control of nothing. She can't even control herself because she's trying to do it all herself. One of the videos I was referring to earlier, where she tells these young women, don't make decisions when you are in the storm because you can't think clearly. The rules don't apply to her. They had some secrets there. She wasn't going to let anybody else see.
You turn your grief into purpose, because anyone can sit in a corner and cry. Anyone can just say, poor me, why this? Anyone can say that. But it's what you do with that pain and that grief that is the most important thing that will outlive you. And so as we were sitting in that conference room and we were going through the commitments Charlie had and the vision that we had, we left room for God to do what he does best. And right in
So it's God. Remember, if you pray about it, people can't question you. So it's God. So it's not a spirit-filled team coming together and, you know, working out ideas. It's just God. So even though Charlie left the blueprint, gonna leave room for what God does best. Not through Charlie, but through them, because they have these other things they're gonna do. You know, like halftime shows, alternative halftime shows. Oh, did she say the DNA part yet? Did she say you have the same DNA as I? Okay, if she did, then like a few weeks ago, I would have been like, that is a white supremacist dog whistle. No, she's just stupid. She's stupid. She's not talking about DNA. She's talking about like mindset. She gets herself in trouble because she doesn't know the words. Um, all right, we're almost done.
some new things that we didn't even have planned. And when I walked into that room, I didn't go, Andrew Cipher, who are you? I knew him. I knew him very well and his family. So Justin was like, all right, I need to step back and we need to reassess these processes. Don't do that event. I don't even know what this is. Don't do it. No. I said, you all know what you need to be doing. Full steam ahead. You have your marching orders, and we are going to get through this, and we are going to make Charlie so damn proud. So for those of you who do know and don't know, let this be a reminder of what we do.
The contradiction of make Charlie proud by doing what he doesn't want you to do, like support Thomas Massey or not support the war, not do the audit. So absurd. Okay. Oh yes, Serena Joy. This pacing thing. I watched her do a motivational speech to high school kids. She was dressed like Stevie Nicks. I have wondered if she wears so much bangles and covering on her wrists because she's tried to hurt herself in the past and she's covering it. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know allegedly. I'm not saying like for sure, but it's so bizarre. But she's also very tactile, so maybe she needs that on. Okay. Are there questions? I need to No. All right, you guys. The video's janky. Bankin' and yankin'. What does Frank Turek say? Something like that. Well, I apologize for the technical issues. This is me giving Doug and I. You should see his forehead. He went surfing. He's never gone surfing before. And what happened? You weren't standing up. Just a wave overtook you, and he got slammed into the sand and kind of drugs dragged. I'm tired. So he has this huge, like someone took a sander. I didn't realize it was on your shoulder as well. Are you pouting? Are you not talking to me? Do you want our community to think you're an amazing surfer?
No, need them to can't hear me anyway, so I don't know.
Okay. We have a super thing that came in, unless it's a gift, or super is a gift. I don't know how to click on the thing.
It says start. Here, I'll do it. Here, can you see it?
I do see the gift. I don't see who it's from. I see their little picture, but
No, go over to start.
go to start. Hey, I like this. Now I can see you guys. Love you, Christine. Hey, Doug. Let's get justice for Charlie. Oh my gosh. I have this daydream that when this comes together, Candace will host a little barbecue. We used to live in Nashville. Hopefully, it won't be solved during this summer. It gets very hot. Thank you for the jewels, Whitney. Quit gaslighting us. That's such a great handle. Thank you for the jewels, Laughing Disco. Thank you for the pod. We will let him know right now. Thank you for the live. No all caps crew. I don't totally know what that means. Doug's like, I'll tell you later. I'm so excited, Laura, that you caught us live as well. I'm so glad you're here. Thank you. Glitter. I will call you Glitter. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your support. Thank you for checking out thinkhappystuff.com. If you're hoping to get a sweatshirt, stop by on Monday. We might have them up before then.
Yes, my latest final bit.
Okay. I think that's all I got. I love and appreciate you guys. Any final word, Doug? He said no. All right. We'll see you again soon. This is me looking for the thing. The cursor has to jump from monitor to I can't. Okay, Doug's gonna do it. Love you guys. Thanks for being here. Am I still on?